but we that could have been like a vision. But actually seeing that whole sequence play out was just insane, and it lasted quite a while too. It wasn't like a quick like 5 minute. I feel like the dragon sequence was happening for at least 10 to 15, and just seeing that whole like mythological scale, I guess, because Marvel doesn't really go mythological that much, and I think
Mm-hmm.
this was the first movie where I can feel like okay, going forward they're gonna start to dip into that. And I thought it looked great. The director, I think his name is Destin Daniel
Destin Daniel,
Cretton.
yeah.
Yeah, and he did Just Mercy, which is really good. So I think if this is what he's gonna bring to the table for Marvel as far as like their mythological movies go and their martial art esque, you know, movies go, I think we're in good hands.
Yeah, I mean, I would say probably the only spoilery thing that I really want to talk about is probably the ending, really. But no, I mean, like the movie itself was really good. I enjoyed like the creatures that they introduced. I really thought, I believe it's Ben Kingsley, right, from Iron Man 3, who was
Yeah.
you, who yeah, I really liked how, they brought his character back and you know, he wasn't like we all thought, oh my goodness, he's going to die, but instead sorry that I'm kind of doing spoilers. But yeah, no, we found out that he becomes more of a jester than, he's there for the entertainment of, you know, um of the 10 rings for their amusement. Um but I really like how he kind of is kind of like I wouldn't say a shoehorn, but he's more of a kind of like that person that you meet on the path, and then you're brought to him, and he's kind of like, well, here's
He's
Morris,
here.
which
Yeah.
I will say is the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life. So yeah, I really enjoyed like, and of course, the dragons. I wasn't too sure what the main, like, the villains behind the wall were going to be, because I know they were talking about it, and I was like, okay, let's see what they were, and it was kind of like a dragon versus kind of dragon battle, and I was like, oh, okay. But no, like other than that, it was like really interesting and amazing, and um I I have to say, like, my favorite part was like Awkwafina. I did like her um as a character, but I haven't really given her much time, as an actor, and I know I should have. Like, she is really good, and but I really liked her in this, and I was kind of afraid what she was going to pull off, and but she did it really well, and I really thought she was funny, and she brought like humor to the, like, she brought humor when it was supposed to be humorous, and it was really good. She was not just the best friend, but she was also there for, the humor relief, and she was also there for, she was pretty amazing. I really liked her, and I liked the bond that they had, and it was pretty awesome. So, yeah. But I thought the movie overall was brilliant, and I would definitely go watch it again. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think I agree with you guys' points, and I didn't know what to expect from this movie. Obviously, there was too much hype, leading into it. So I was just like Grace, and I was like, oh, they do this for every single movie, and blah blah blah. Although it doesn't affect my judgment of the film, because I know that that's unfair to have high expectations based on someone's reviews and then going into it and then getting disappointed. So I don't really factor that into it. But this time, I think they were pretty on point with all the hype. So yeah, the way I you know would describe this is it's kind of similar to Aquaman in terms of scale and visuals and how big the third act is and how unexpected that was. Like, I remember getting really surprised when that giant kaiju thing came out of nowhere in Aquaman, and there was this huge battle underwater, and I was like, "What is happening?" And of course, the the boat fight was also pretty cool in that. But yeah, it was kind of similar in this. They went to a new place that was, it was called Talo, and we were kind of getting introduced to it since the beginning of the movie. They name dropped it a couple of times, and they also showed a lot of the dragon imagery throughout the movie. And I was just 100% certain that they are definitely going to have a dragon in the end. I just didn't know how. Shang-Chi is just a man, and there doesn't seem to be a villain here of that scale that a dragon would fight, right? Or Shang-Chi, how Shang-Chi would fight a dragon, right? So I was 100% sure that a dragon is definitely going to be in third act, but I didn't know how they would bring them in. And once that the voice started coming from behind the wall, I was sure that there was a dragon behind the wall. And I was just thinking, how are they gonna fight the dragon, and why would the dragon be like fighting these guys? So I just didn't know how, but I just knew that it was gonna happen because I watched Iron Fist season one, and at the end of that season, Iron Fist actually goes to a cave. The opening of cave, the entire season they tease a dragon, and then the dragon never shows up. So I was pretty disappointed about that. But I knew that since this is a movie and it's a Shang-Chi solo movie, I knew that the dragon would show up here definitely. So I was not disappointed in the least. So I just loved that whole third act. It just blew my mind. Um, it's also interesting that the villain dragon was kind of not actually a complete dragon. It was kind of like a Lovecraftian creature with a different design and all that. So I liked that. And the flying dragon just was amazing. It was just uh, very huge. So I just love that. I know some people get turned off by big CG spectacles and all that. I just love all that. So that was definitely for me. And um, I would say that Awkwafina is definitely up there in terms of favorite characters. I thought she was amazing. I loved her in Crazy Rich Asians. Before watching that movie, actually, I heard people, hate on her a lot because of her comedy not being that good and all that. But I was pretty pleasantly surprised by her performance in that movie. But then I saw The Farewell next year, and I was again very surprised because it's the complete opposite, and she's very very serious and dramatic in that role. And I thought that she had a pretty good range, so I was expect going into the movie, I was expecting to love her in this movie as well, and she delivered. And she's, like you said, she's not there just for the jokes or stuff like that, but in the serious scenes when Shang-Chi was telling about his backstory, and he reveals some pretty dark stuff. So she just sits there silently, because obviously she can't say that, oh, you're this, that, or she can't say, oh, that doesn't matter, but she just listens and sits silently. I loved that moment. I thought that she brought pretty interesting choices to the movie, and I just loved her overall. But I would say that just by a little bit, I think Tony Leung's character is my most favorite of this movie. I actually didn't think he was a villain. I kind of think that he had his purpose and he was just very dedicated to that. And I can understand why, because he obviously, he was on his way to conquer everything and all that. And then he met this woman and fell in love with her, and, had children with her. And he gave up what was the primary motive of his life to be with her, and then she gets taken away from him. I can understand, the path he went on to after that. And he just was so badass throughout the movie. He just him walking was so good. He's just so good looking, and he's 60 years old, and I was like, wow, this guy is a movie star. And I just loved every scene he was in, and until the very end his performance was amazing, and I was actually pretty sad when he died. So, yeah, and it's the MCU. I think they might bring him back later on, but yeah, I think for this movie it was a pretty good ending, and he was very very good. And yeah, these two are the top favorite characters of mine, and then I would say Shang-Chi, and I even loved the sister character. She was pretty amazing, and I didn't expect to love her that much. I thought that usually when this happens, the side characters are just relegated to the side, but she was pretty amazing, and she was in every scene with him and supportive, and there was fights between them as well. So I loved all that as well. So the post-credit scene obviously sets her up for as the leader of the Ten Rings going forward, and I can't wait to see where that takes us with her journey. But yeah, I loved her character as well, and Trevor Slattery obviously was very hilarious. And my favorite moment of his was when during a battle scene he was dead, and he was like, "No, I'm not dead. I'm just pretend." And that was just very unexpected and hilarious to me. But yeah, he brought a lot of the comedic relief to the movie, as opposed to Awkwafina, who had some comedic moments, but also was a very supportive and serious type of role, which I loved because, if it was all comedy, I probably wouldn't have liked her character as much. But she was a pretty well-rounded and interesting character, and I was very happy that when in the end Wong was inviting them to join. I loved that he also invited her, so we are definitely going to be seeing more of her, so I'm pretty excited about that.
I'm really excited to see like what they're going to do next as well. But I wanted to say one thing that I really enjoyed was actually the bus scene for the fighting
Yes.
sequence. So good, so good. That was one thing that I left out, and I was like, I really wanted to say that. But like I just loved how it was like choreographed, and like they used the bus as like not an obstacle, but they use it as, more of an object where they could, they were using it kind of like as a jungle gym. And, you had, you had Shang-Chi going in and out, and he was breaking the windows and the glass, and he was going into and opening the door was actually one of my favorite. And, Awkwafina trying to like drive the bus
Yeah.
down the San Francisco, like, the hills. And it was really entertaining, and it was super fun, and that was just one thing that I really did enjoy of it.
Yes, and that guy, Razor Fist, I think is his name. He actually apparently trained for like 4 months just for that one scene, and even Simu did a lot of stunts for that scene, the fighting, and there's one behind the scenes video that I saw. The one where he's sliding on the top of the bus and then holding that rod to get into the bus. He actually did that, and it's pretty amazing how the choreography in this movie is, like you guys said, it's one of the best, if not the best, of the MCU. I was just mind blown of what I was watching. I Like I said, the expectations were so low for me, and then I heard about the hype, and I still was satisfied and not disappointed. So it's a pretty amazing feat.
Yeah, I think like you said, the train part was so good, and I think what it did right in a sense was like you said, it used it as an object. Or like in Captain Marvel, like there was like talk of like this fight on the train, and when you watch the movie, it's like it's
Oh
just
my
kind of
god.
like there just happens to be a train there. It's not like the train really has much to do with anything. So I think the genius of this movie is that wherever they're fighting, they're really utilizing, I guess, their surroundings, kind of like in a John Wick kind of way, where it's
Yeah,
like whatever's around them, like they're gonna use. And I think it really blended that, blend of like hand-to-hand combat and CGI really well. And like you said,
absolutely.
Najeed, there's like a lot of people that will like it's kind of like it's the rinse and repeat kind of thing where people complain about the end CGI battles when it comes to MCU. But I think for this one particularly, I think it worked pretty well.
Hmm.
in a way, it was like one of those like delightful surprises where it's like, oh, I thought this was going to be more grounded, and it kind of went very mythic, and I think it only improved the movie. I don't think it held back. I think it was like another layer that we weren't expecting. So I thought that worked really well, and I think at the end too, like when I guess, are we allowed to talk about the post credit scene?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. I love how they're kind of being invited into this world where the Avengers are going to be, because we don't really know the state of what the Avengers are after Endgame, but we're
Yeah.
kind of getting little, nuggets of what it's going to look like. And very interestingly, surprisingly, I thought, why isn't Hulk Smart Hulk anymore? Like, why is he just Bruce Banner? I thought that was kind
Hmm.
of a huge thing that not many people are talking about. So I wonder if that's going to be something that's going to be explored maybe in the She-Hulk series. Who knows? And also with the Ten Rings, I thought that was just a really cool um, kind of cliffhanger in a way because I did like the character. If you guys watch Avatar, she reminds me a lot of Ty Lee. She's kind of very like subtle and subdued, but like she's kind of badass too. So I thought she was really cool, and I wonder if that's going to lead into like a mini series on Disney Plus where she's like bringing up this new kind of phase of the Ten Rings. I thought that'd be kind of cool if they did that.
Yeah, and I think that post credit scene with Wong also kind of sets up a pretty major thing that I think we'll see in the future. Maybe we might see that in Doctor Strange 2 as well. Interesting timing with the What If episode 4 and this movie together coming out, because both of those things hint at some things being in that movie. And I totally can see Shang-Chi being in Doctor Strange 2 now and, helping out. And obviously Awkwafina as well. But even in that scene, I just loved when everything was just so serious and they were setting up, and we thought that the post credit scene ended, and Simu just says "or," and then the jump cut to them singing karaoke.
That
It
was
was
actually one of my
hilarious.
favorite as well, was the karaoke scene where they're like, Wong, come on,
Yeah,
we can do karaoke instead. Don't worry about the multiverse, it'll be fine.
yeah. I just love that. It was so like you said, Vivian, their chemistry is just amazing. Simu Liu and Aquafina's, they just nailed it, and I thought that bringing them together in the Avengers team and whatnot, I thought was a very very good decision.
Yeah, do you guys think like she's gonna be involved in like any kind of like superhero stuff, or is she just gonna be like the friend that happens to be there while Shang-Chi is like doing stuff?
Well,
um,
he has 10 rings, so he could give a couple of them to her.
for some
That's true.
reason, I thought, the way they released the packages of, of the toys of them before the movie came out, and I thought I saw her with fans or something like that, but then I remembered it was actually just a bow and arrow. I was like, I thought she had fans or something like
Oh,
that. Um,
interesting.
yeah, but when I saw her, I was like, oh, I didn't know her character was going to be a superhero, because usually in the trailer
Yeah,
they
me
don't
neither.
really, yeah. But yeah, I think she could be the next Hawkeye or something.
Hmm.
She could go train with them or something like that, and they can use their bow and arrows and stuff like that. But no, I think she might have a bigger role. I like to know a bit more of her backstory, because
Yeah.
I thought, for me, when I was watching the film, I thought like the man that killed his mom was her father or something like that, and that's why he didn't, or I thought that's why he didn't kill him, but we found out that he did kill him, when he said it to her. But
Hmm.
that was my thinking through the movie. I was like, oh, was the reason he didn't go through with it, and the reason he stayed was because he became friends with her or something like that, or her dad, and she, like, he didn't want to go through with it or something like that. But we were then told then but that was my thought through the movie, and I was like, oh, that would be kind of interesting. But then they went and did something else, which is
Yeah,
also very
Yeah.
interesting as well.
They did a
So yeah.
pretty
yeah. The
good
whole thing
job with
with
the
the
structure.
Yeah, the whole thing with the whole like the mother like mystery, I was like, is she alive? Because like they started making me think that, but eventually like once they went through the backstory, it was pretty apparent that she was dead, and
Yeah.
that it was just like I just love the film. Like the I think that was such a tragic way to tell that story, and it gave everybody like their layers and like the reason for why they're doing what they're doing, even the father. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think overall, I just it was a good movie. I think Marvel really did good with this one. I think the origin movies have.
Oh, Grayson dropped off. We we will wait for him, but you can continue, Vivian.
Yeah, no, I mean the ending for me, like, definitely, you know, his sister going into now taking over the Ten Rings and kind of making it her own. That was kind of interesting as well. That I was like, oh, is she going to be a possible threat for the future now? Is she going to be, because at the end credits they said the Ten Rings will return. So I'm excited what she's going to do. Like she's going to remodel her kind of her father's business and kind of do it how she, believes. And I'm excited for her, but I'm also kind of excited to see how the brother sister dynamic, because we see them, they work together really well.
Yeah, she even remodeled the whole thing. There's graffiti on the wall and stuff, and the logo also changed. Um, so yeah, I do think that she could be a very interesting character. I loved her in this movie, and I would definitely uh, watch more stuff with her. So I'm pretty excited. Someone asked Kevin Feige in an interview that whether the Ten Rings will return as a series, a Disney Plus series or something, and he said no, that won't be the case. It would just be in another movie or something, and obviously it would be hinted at in other movies in the background and stuff. So just like after Iron Man 3, we saw the Ten Rings' presence in the background, and yeah, that's what he said that it would be like. So yeah, I'm pretty excited for the future of this, if of this world itself. I want to see more of the Shang-Chi world. I loved everything that they showed me, and I'm pretty much rooting for Simu and Awkwafina and everyone else in this movie. And I'm very glad to see that they are succeeding at the box office as well, and everyone's loving them. Um, Especially after Disney's Bob Chapek saying that we'll put Shang-Chi just in theaters as an experiment, and obviously that was very poor choice of words on his part. And Simu replied, "We're not an experiment, we are the change." And there was a whole tweet, and I think he should be very proud that this is a very big achievement, and I just love this film. Grayson, you're back.
I am back. Okay, I wasn't sure. I was waiting for the okay.
Cool.
I forgot where I left on. My camera died. That's why I'm using my
You were
table camera.
talking about the end. You were talking about the Ten Rings, the ending.
Oh yeah, I guess you kind of confirmed that. I guess they won't return in Disney Plus, but
Yeah,
I'm still looking forward to whatever they're gonna do with that whole concept. It kind of reminded me of kind of like Kill Bill and stuff, and how there's all those like assassins. So I think it'll be really cool to see what they do with that. But yeah, the movie was good. I enjoyed it. I'm probably gonna see it again. I can't wait to. I guess to watch it on. Is it even gonna be on Disney Plus, or are they just gonna,
it
or
will
are they just gonna
probably
keep it exclusive?
it will probably be on Disney Plus after like 45 days or 3 months, however long the window is. But yeah, they're not gonna release it soon. they they know that this is a big box office hit, and they want the full, but income from that. And I think that's a pretty smart move on their part. It's also pretty good for Simu Liu and Awkwafina and everyone involved. They have a very successful film here, and they might get more roles in the future. So it's pretty good for them as well. But yeah, overall, I just really, like I said, really love this film. Everything in it from start to finish was awesome to watch. I also, liked the other characters who were supporting, like her auntie. She was also awesome. Of course, she's a legend, and she played her part pretty well. Um, but yeah, I'm just very blown away by the dragons and how he fought in that scene. And I wasn't expecting, him to be that powerful. I was like, he's probably just a, martial artist and just would do hand-to-hand combat and would have the Ten Rings, using that as kind of a lasso, of a Wonder Woman, similar to that, but it's pretty powerful. And he's like, he's flying almost, and he has a dragon, and it's all pretty amazing. And he's very, very powerful. So I'm excited to see how they use him in the future big battle scenes. That would be pretty amazing to watch.
Yeah, those it did come pretty easily to him. Like I did find that kind
Yep.
of funny how once he got the rings, like he was like, I mean, Marvel does it all the time. Like when Captain
Yeah.
America got the hammer, he was kicking ass back like left and right. Like it's just it is
Yeah.
what it is, and I'm not gonna complain about it really. Um, but yeah, I'm really interested to see like how he operates in the Avenger world too, because I was kind of like after Endgame, you were kind of bummed, like, okay, there's no Iron Man, there's no Cap, like, what's the Avengers gonna look like now? But now, like, I feel like I think we're like I said, we're in good hands. I think whatever Avengers movie comes next, whether it's like the new Avengers, if they call it that, or if it's kind of like I think they're even teasing, not really teasing, but they had mentioned like possible like young Avengers. I wonder if he would be in that.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I just think the direction that the MCU is going in is like, if there is a correct direction, this is it. Like it seems like
Yeah.
they're going like they're taking a lot of chances in a way, even though these are like billion-dollar movies no matter what. Sometimes I think
Hmm.
they are taking chances, and I think um, I think it's gonna pay off. Like I don't I feel like they're not resting on their laurels. They're not saying, okay, we have like so much money, we can just throw anything at the wall. I think they're actually trying to do something different. They're trying to be
Yeah.
inclusive too when it comes to like bringing in different cultures and stuff. And I think this movie was definitely a good, indication of like when they say they're gonna do a kung fu movie, they actually mean it. So
Yeah.
I loved it. I think it's one of the top tier MCU, I think, origin stories, and I can't wait to see where the character goes next.
Agreed. And before we go, I would like to bring up something which we forgot to mention. In the post-credit scene, we also have Brie Larson's Captain Marvel, and it looks like she is also going to be playing a big part going forward. Like she probably is the replacement of what the Iron Man figure was for the Avengers, or the Captain America figure. Like there were rumors that she would be the face of the MCU going forward, and I didn't really buy that before, but now I can see that they are kind of setting that up. So I'd be curious to see that. I didn't like her in the movie, in I mean in her movie, because that movie was not as good, I think. But I did like her in Endgame, and I did like her in this post credit scene. She was pretty funny, and I am looking forward to that in the future as well. Any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to just the future of the MCU. Like it's kind of weird watching it kind of unfold now post Endgame. Like you said, Brie Larson, she might be the face. I don't know if she is going to be like the face of the Avengers. I thought that would be I guess Anthony Mackie as Captain America, but I guess we'll see what they do. I think that's going to be kind of really important going forward, like who they kind of establish to be the leader of the team, because like RDJ and Chris Evans, they have such good charisma and good chemistry, just like with everybody they have a scene with. So it's easy for them to be, the leader of the Avengers. But for Brie Larson or I think at one point people were talking about Spider-Man being the leader, which didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay. But in general, it's just gonna be interesting to see like what happens, and um, I think they're just kind of laying the groundwork for the future, and it's looking good too. It's looking it's looking just as good as it's ever been. So yeah, I'm excited and I'm looking forward to what comes next.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, it's like I'm excited to see what they have unfold. Um, I mean, I've seen like all the movies up so far, and during my summer, I just did like kind of a bit of a binge watch of the Marvel MCU movies, and yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see now what they're gonna do. I know that we don't have Robert Downey Jr. or Chris Evans kind of to lead anymore, and you're kind of gonna guess like who's gonna be the next um, person. I mean, you can, for me, like it doesn't matter who it is. Um, but as long as like, we have like we have a stable, Avengers and stuff like that. But you know what? I'm excited to see what's going to happen. And I'm sure like Kevin Feige has a plan and he has like a big long whiteboard and he's like, okay, this is what's going to happen in
Always.
2030.
He should call Zack Snyder. He has some whiteboards too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe the two of them could like say, let's exchange whiteboards,
That'd be cool.
Yeah. So,
But yeah,
yeah.
the movie also feels very Phase One in a weird way, and I think in a
Yeah.
good way, which is fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A lot of people were saying that Phase 4 is definitely the magical side of things,
Yeah.
it's definitely the deep dive of the magic realm and kind of like we're definitely going to go into the multiverse and we're definitely going to deep dive into magic. Yes, in Phase 1 was more kind of like you meet your heroes and their build up. And of course this is very much like a new Phase 1 and it's like a new kind of groundbreaking kind of sort of how they're going to move forward with like the characters and with other characters that they've had from other movies that they've already built and try and put them in with new characters that they're going to build together. So I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you guys. So yeah, that was our spoiler review for Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Hopefully we see more of everything, like the character, story, the Ten Rings, everything from this movie. We hope to see more of that in the future.